Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back into the mat. Welcome back into the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you, one and all. So excited about today's video. We are going to be making a beautiful set of jewelry inspired by my Great Lakes Frost Sparkle Bag collection for January 2026. And we're doing a bracelet and coordinating earrings set. I have not done a set, it occurred to me, in far too long in one video. So this one shouldn't take too long. And I decided today was the day because this bag is just screaming the set for me. So I think you guys are gonna love this. But first things first, guys, quick announcement. I am gonna be doing a live this Friday, January 30th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 Eastern. The pin is in my community post over on Colleen Marie's channel. Many of you know Colleen, and so please join us, guys, this Friday. Basically, it's going to be girl power and all about the girly girl stuff. We're going to take a needed break from making jewelry for one night and play with girly stuff. So we're going to be opening our Ipsy bags, guys. We have not opened our Ipsy bags for January. In fact, I just signed up using Colleen's link, and I just got my first bag, and I am dying because I haven't opened it, and it's been sitting here for 2 weeks. So what a wonderful time this is going to be. It's going to be so much fun, and I hope you guys will join us this Friday. So again, it's pinned in my community tab, and that's at 6 o'clock this Friday. 9 Eastern. And what a wonderful way, by the way, to send our beautiful friend Kyle off to her new beadie adventure. She is going to the Tucson bead show, and my God, I'm so excited for her and hope she has the best time. She's going with our friend Jody, and many of our beadie friends will be going, so I can't wait to see what they all bring us back. Boy, I'm so excited, but I'm so excited to send Colleen off on her beadie adventure with a fun little Ipsy party. So that's what's happening Friday. Okay, guys. So if you are new to this technique, then you're in the right place. If you know this technique, then maybe just a little refresher and gonna give you some beadie inspiration. Let me show you where we're going, my friends. Let me get things over here. And by the way, guys, don't you worry, my statement piece, it's coming. It's coming. This was the first project I made out of Great Lakes Frost. So beautiful, that check trillium flower. Oh, I cannot even take it. So that's what I'm wearing there. That was my first. Now, I think we're about project 5 or so. I'll put it in the thumbnail. But my statement piece is coming. And I want to, by the way, thank you guys. Quick pause. So many of you have been posting your beautiful jewelry. And I just want to remind those of you that if maybe you're too afraid or you think your jewelry's not good enough to post, just you stop that, right? Because there is no such thing as perfect jewelry making that I've ever heard of. And I've been doing this a long time, guys. And by the way, there's no such thing as perfect anything in humans. Is that a thing? Well, I just made it period. So my friends, you know, we all inspire each other, and you guys are rock stars. Some of your pieces you've been posting, bravo, snaps. You guys are doing some beautiful work utilizing the beads and components from my sparkle bags, but you guys also post some of your things that you're just using from your stash and other bead boxes you get, and I'm here for all of that. So just know that your community tab, that community space this is our community, guys. It's yours just as much as it's mine. And please utilize that community tab. If you have questions or maybe you're stuck on something, we are all here for each other. We've got each other's back. This is a safe space. There's no judgment. And I love nothing more than seeing all of your beautiful, beautiful work and also the questions. I love it. I'm here for it. And I don't always have the answer, but usually I can direct us to the right answer. So thank you guys so much for posting and all of your recent feedback of how much all of you actually enjoy seeing all of your fellow beaders work and how much you guys are inspired by each other too. I just love it. So thank you guys. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep it going. Let me take you down all the way downtown here. This is what's happening, my friends. Here's our beautiful earring. that we are going to make. Oh, look at that. Look at that moonstone. Oh, look at that flash of that AB in there. I cannot even take it. And here is, well, that wasn't very nice. I didn't mean to drop it. Here is our bracelet focal that we're going to be doing a chain bracelet today. And here's the focal. This is my sample. Now, the only thing not on the sample we're about to do is wire wrap loops on either side. Okay, but that is my sample. And so we're basically just going to use 3 gauges of wire, or excuse me, 3 pieces, 2 gauges of wire. And we're just going to do little bead frames. And these are kind of like cosmic is what I was thinking. Because look at that. Look at how that bead in the middle just stays right there but spins around. That is where we're going. And the same can be said for the earring. So they remind me they're kind of cosmic, right? And so if you want to accomplish something similar, I'm going to give you measurements and bead counts. But if you are not using beads from my Great Lakes Frost, don't you worry. Use any beads you have from your stash, and let's just get the technique down, right? We're just going to get the technique down, making beautiful things, and that's when I'm going to give you measurements and sizes of beads that I'm using. So hopefully you'll enjoy this and make something beautiful. So let's go through, let me tell you what, let me put this over here, guys, okay? And let's make the earrings first, okay? And then I will talk you through what I'm using as we're making it. How does that sound? Okay, so first and foremost, guys, the wire we're going to use for both the earrings and the bracelet is we're going to be using some 26 gauge, okay, 26 gauge. Okay, this is in a gorgeous royal blue, okay? So I've got about 6-7 inch piece. For the earrings, we don't need much, okay? I've got 1 piece, and I've already straightened it out. And then I'm using 20 gauge wire, and we're gonna use the same wire for both projects. And I've got probably a 4-5 inch piece here. We don't need very much of that either, okay? So that's a 20 gauge wire in silver. That's the pear wire. It has a copper core with a non-tarnished finish. And the beads that we're going to be using is an 8mm moonstone, or 10mm, a 10x8 rondelle right here. And then we're going to be using some on the outside, the frame there, those beads. The cobalt are 3x2s, and the white and silver in the middle there on the outside of the frame, that's a 3x4. So you'll want some teeny tots, but you can also use some seed beads, some 8/0s or 6/0s if you've got them. Any kind of spacers, that'd work too. They just need to be small, okay? And then we're going to be using this elongated rectangle cuboid here, okay? And then I'm just using a standard ear wire, and then we're going to be using 3 bead caps. How cool does that look? And then that chain, you can use any chain. This is the oval textured 304 chain that came in my bag. And again, you know, you could use any chain really that you wanted, okay? And you can use as many pieces of chain as you want as well. This does not matter. So let's get to this one first, my friends. So what we'll need is, again, our 20 gauge piece, and we've got the 26 gauge piece, okay? So let's get going and make something beautiful, shall we? I'm gonna get you way in here. Okay, friends, so to get started, I am going to start the makings of a wire wrap loop. Let me bring everything in over here that I need. And we're gonna wire wrap our chain directly to the earring, okay? Now, you don't have to on this first part. You can use a jump ring if you want. For me, if you know me, I just always like to eliminate hardware where I can. So what we're going to do is we will just go down. I usually go about 2 finger spaces, guys, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches, or 2 inches. It really is just your comfort level. So I'm just gonna go down a little bit here, okay? And I'm gonna put a right bend directly over my plier, okay? Make sure our wire is nice and warmed up and straight. Okay, and then I'm gonna come in here. You can use your round nose or your bail making. I'm gonna use the smallest step of my bail making today because I want all of my loops to be the same size. So I'm gonna put that right in the bend, okay? Pull this wire up and around to hug the front of my tool. I'm gonna then rotate my tool to the top of the wire, put the pressure there, so I can move this wire to the back. And now we have our lollipop head here, or sometimes it reminds me of like a woman's scarf. I'm gonna remove that from my tool, open up the door, and then I'm gonna feed the last link of my 2 pieces of chain. My 2 pieces of chain that I cut are a 5-link and a 6-link piece. And again, you could fill this up and use as many pieces of chain and as long as you wanted it. We're gonna go ahead and close the door now. And let's go ahead and wrap that around. Now, I've been doing clean wraps, but again, that is just an aesthetic and a preference. If you wanna do messy wraps, you can do messy wraps. And you can also go around here as many times as you want. I'm gonna do 3 clean wraps. Oops. Well, I'm gonna try to anyway. There we go. Okay, that's pretty terrible, so I'm gonna have to fix that. Which, good thing it's a tutorial. Let me show you how to fix that. That's a terrible wrap. Okay. So what we do is we will just hold our loop here, my friends, and we'll come in here with some pliers, and we'll use like our fingers, our backboard, and we'll just gently squeeze those wraps together. And voila, no harm, no foul. And then I'm gonna come around in the back here, and I am gonna trim that off. Now, I'm gonna try to trim really close, but I'm not gonna, if I trim close enough, I'm not gonna worry about tucking in my burr here, because you'll see why in a minute. Okay, so that's what we have. So I just wanna, you can tuck in your burr if you want. I just wanna make sure that I'm really just trimming pretty close, but because this is about to get covered up, okay? And so now this is what we have. The next thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna grab this piece of wire that's about 7-8 inches or so, my 26 gauge. Now, pause really quick, friends. I would not go to 24 gauge on this because your frame will not be fluid enough, I think is the word. Okay, we don't want it to be too stiff. We want it to have some fluidity, but we have 20 gauge as our core wire in here. On the outside, I like the 26 gauge. Now, you could do 24 if you wanted. It's just gonna be a little stiffer, okay? Also, I'm using this thinner wire because I need all 3 pieces of my wire to go through several of my beads here, okay? So there's another reason that I'm using the 26 gauge, okay? And so all I'm gonna do now is take this piece of wire I have, I'm gonna come down here to the bottom of where I just made that loop, and I'm just gonna wrap each side around. So I'm gonna take this one and wrap it, pull it back over here. I'm gonna take this side and wrap it and let it come back that side. Now this is gonna be, you know, kind of flinging up and down. Don't worry about it right now at all. That's just the nature of the technique, okay? So just somehow, some way, we're gonna get that wrapped around. So it's not basically gonna come off, okay? Now, quick tip for you guys. The reason I have my clip, or if you have a bead stopper, it's gonna be your friend when we start putting the beads on. You'll see what I mean. We can clip to hold our beads from falling off the wire, okay? So what I'm gonna do now is I am going to feed on 3 of the cobalt, which this is a 3x2 millimeter. And I'm gonna feed on 3. And I'm on the 26 gauge here, okay? And then I'm gonna go over here to 1 of these 3x4s in the white. And then we'll go and finish that side with 3 of the 3x2 cobalts. Again, here, if you have any kind of really pretty spacers, seed beads equally will work. Okay, so let me stop and show you. This is what I have. I have 3, 1, and 3. I am now going to do the same exact thing over here. So I'm going to hold, now if you don't want to hold your wire, this is where you can literally grab your clip or your bead stopper and just clip it right there, and it'll hold that in place. And so I'm going to do the same exact thing I just did on that side. 3 cobalts, 1 white, and then 3 cobalts. My clip, and this is what I now have. Okay? And again, notice how this is going up and down, not worried about it. Okay? We'll fix that in a second. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to focus on my core wire. So again, if you want to get these out of your way and not hold them, your little 26 gauge wires, you can grab a clip or a bead stopper and just clip it on your wire so they don't come off. Your beads don't come off, okay? Whatever you're comfortable with, okay? I'm just going to hold mine. And now what I'm going to do down that center wire is I'm going to put a bead cap. So I'm going down my 20 gauge now. And then I'm going to do a moonstone. And then I'm going to do another bead cap. And now right here, I am going to grab all 3 of my wires together. And I'm going to now slide everything down to where that wire wrap loop with the chain is there, okay? And I'm going to kind of hold my moonstone bead there, okay? And I'm going to now take these wires, so this guy's here and this guy's here. So I'm going to take them over and around this core wire and get really close to the top of that bead cap, and I'm going to twist that around twice. I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. I'm going to come around the top, and 1 and 2. And push it down. Okay, so now we have a wire coming out each side. Now what we're going to want to do is we want to just make sure that this little tiny wire is really anchored and not going anywhere. So what I'm going to do is, do you notice the space here, guys? Let me grab this as a pointer. Do you notice the space right here between the bead cap and this rondelle where the blue wire is? Right here and right here, I'm going to pull these wires and wrap them, but we're going to crisscross the opposite side of the wire. So this is going to really anchor this. So because this wire coming out on the right is coming onto the right side of this wire, and it's coming around the top of the wire, I'm going to come underneath, and I'm going to go right here into this space on between that cobalt and that bead cap. And I'm going to pull this up. And as I pull that up, I'm just going to pull it nice and tight. And then I'm going to push it back down the other side of the wire between that rondelle there too. Okay, and then we have that there. And we're going to do the same thing over here. So this one is coming out from underneath, so I need to go on top, and I need to cross over the other side of the wire right here. In that little space. And we'll go ahead and pull that tight. And we'll just push everything down. And let's see, we'll do one last wrap there. And this one needs one more wrap going this way. And that's what we have. Okay, now we're going to flip it to the back, and let's get rid of all that. Okay, and so now that's what I have. Let me lay this down and show you. Okay, now what we're going to do is cover all that up, okay? We're going to cover all that up like it wasn't there. And by the way, guys, you see this moonstone? Oh, it's, you know, it needs a moment. It's so mesmerizing. Oh, I love moonstone. Mermaid beads, right? Oh my gosh, you guys, look at that. Oh, okay, my friends. So now we're going to grab another bead cap and put that down and watch the magic that a bead cap carries. We're going to put that right on down there. And look what just happened. All that little wire wrapping we just did got covered up by a little cap. I love it. Love it. And then let's go ahead and put this beauty on here. That's a 10 by 8 millimeter. And then that is a rectangular elongated cuboid in that jet black. Okay, so that's what we have. Now we're going to put our earring this way. So let me see here. How do I want this? This I want to be my front, I think. Nope, that's my back. This is the front. And as soon as we do this wire wrap up here, all of this is gonna stay put. It sure will. I'm just straightening things out here before I go to my next step. Make sure that my loop is gonna be centered. Okay, so I am now going to turn my earring this way, and why does my bead cap look weird? Are you not down the center? Hold on, guys. Let me investigate what's happening there. Nothing. Nothing is happening. It's going to tighten up, but it just needs to be tightened up to lay straight, I feel. Okay, so that is my front. So I'm gonna go this way, and we're gonna do a full wire wrap loop. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm gonna go right on top of that bead, okay? And I am going to put a bend in over the wire, or over the tool, excuse me, bend in the wire. And we're gonna come in here either with your round nose or your bail making. We just need a small loop here. Okay, we'll come up and over. Rotate the tool, put the pressure on the top of the wire so we can move this wire to the back. And then we want to go ahead and straighten that up on our tool, just like that. And then we're going to wrap that around. 1, 2, 3. 3. Is that 3? And trim that off. And then we'll tuck that in. Right in that space. And that's what we have. So gorgeous. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. All I have to do is pop it on an air wire. Let me see, where's my front? This is my, is that the back? That's the front? I think so. Alrighty. I'm gonna pop that on there. And we'll close up that ear wire, and our earrings are done. We're gonna now apply the same technique over here to the bracelet. We're just gonna make a few little modifications. Nothing major, guys, nothing major. There is our earrings. Beautiful. Love these, you guys are so pretty. I love long earrings, and I love long chain earrings. So this has I got it all going on for me today. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. So now, same thing. We're working with the same beads and the same wire. The only addition here is I've got a couple of ball-end head pins because I, of course, have to do some dangles. I also am not going to use the clasp from Great Lakes Frost. I'm going to use this little trusty magnetic. They're really super strong. They are tarnish resistant. I love them. I already put some jump rings on the side. I also have some ovals, some 5mm oval jump rings. in case I need them. The reason I opted to use those jump rings is because really I just want the chain to be the focal on with the focal. Now, with that said, you could absolutely, if you have some textured chain that you're using and you have some textured jump rings, then you know, you could match that up, be beautiful as well. So you can almost do no wrong here, except for me, I just really do not want to fuss or muss with the jump rings having any attention. So I decided to go for very small and an oval because they open on the side, right? So that's the gig with that. And then I just have 2 pieces of chain here that I just literally grabbed. I'll tell you how long this is, but you know, cut your chain to length. I have 2 random pieces here. One is about 6.5 and one is 6 inches. So, and it's gonna get cut up anyway, okay? So this is where we're gonna go now, okay? Except for we're gonna also be doing some wire wrap loops. So let's get to it. So same exact supplies I just used with wire. I have my 20 gauge piece and I have my 26 gauge piece. We're gonna do the same exact thing that we did over on the earring. We're gonna start a wire wrap loop and put the chain right on that wire wrap. Now again, if you want to add jump rings, then add jump rings and attach your chain to your loop. Can absolutely do that. So that's what I've got to get started. I feel like my lighting is weird. Okay. So let's do that. So let me grab this, open it up, and I'm gonna grab my chain. I'm gonna put both links down. So I'm making a component, right, as my focal, but I'm doing double chain. And there we go. Okay, so we've got the chain right inside that loop. Let's close the door. Okay, and then let's wrap that up. And again, guys, whether you want to do messy wraps or clean wraps, truly is an aesthetic. That is a design aesthetic. You do not have to do exactly what I'm doing. You want messy wraps, then put in some messy wraps. That's a vibe. There are a lot of designs where I do messy wraps. If you want to just do 1 or 2 wraps here, then do 1 or 2 wraps. Totally. Okay, let me get you tightened way in now. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna grab that little 26 gauge piece of wire and we're gonna do just what we did over there by anchoring it, okay? So I'm just gonna wrap one side around, going one direction, and this one going, wrapping it around one time and let it come back out that way. And they really need to kind of come up. And that's what I have, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to keep all 3 of my wires together. This is the one differential between the bracelet and the earrings, okay? So what we're going to do is, I think I eliminated, let me see, I'm pretty sure I eliminated, no, I did not. Okay, so we're gonna start with the 4mm teeny top white because all 3 of my wires go through. So I've got the 26 gauge and the 20 gauge in silver there, okay? Let's let him come on down. And we're gonna see what happened here. That's okay. We'll just hold the bead and we'll pull up the wires. Unless then we got them stuck, in which case we got them kinked, that's okay. We'll unkink them. That does tend to happen with the smaller gauge wire. There we go. And I'm gonna pull that back down. Okay, and then we're going to keep our wires together. And now we're gonna put on this big, beautiful 10mm rondelle. All 3 wires, okay? And let's let it come on down. And now this is what we have to get started. Okay. And what you want to do is kind of try to press this bead down, right? Because that blue wire is peeking through right there beside my wraps, right? We kind of want that to be somewhat tight, okay? But you're going to still see a peekaboo of the wire, which is exactly why I chose it, okay? And now we've got back to our 3 wires, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I am going to be putting down 5, let me get them, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put 5 3mm, and then I'm going to put a white, and then I'm going to do another 5. And I'm going to put these down my 26 gauge pieces, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on both sides. So there's 2. And then we have 3, 4, and 5. And then we'll put that white one down. That's a 4x3. And then we will go back to our 3mm cobalt. And we'll put another 5. I've now fed my same pattern on the other 26 gauge piece. And now what I'm going to do is I can either hold these 26 gauge pieces, or again, if I have a clip or a bead stopper, you can always clip them, right? I'm just going to go ahead and hold mine, all right? And I'm going to work on the center wire now, the 20 gauge piece. I'm going to go ahead and put down my elongated cuboid, my bead cap, and then the 10mm moonstone. And then a bead cap, and then the black elongated. And friends, I do have some of these bag extras left. I'll link them in the video, whatever I have left out of this bag. Some stuff is sold out, but I do have some of these beautiful beads left. I think I still have some moonstone. But I'll link it for you guys if you didn't get your hands on Great Lakes Frost and you're interested in any of these beautiful beads I'm using today. I will link them in the video for you, and you can check what's in my store. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you got my sparkle bag this month, don't forget, you've only got a few days left. This is the last week to use your special code for what, 20-something% off. Okay, guys, so there we go. And now I'm right back to putting my wires together. And I am going to grab, again, another one of these large. I'm just going to repeat the same thing I did over here when we started. I'm going to put this large 10x8 down all 3 of my wires. And then a little 4mm in the white. And then we'll play with the wire and the frame and make it look all pretty. We sure will. Okay, and let's get this last bead down, all 3 of my wires. And that's what we have, right? That's what we have. Now we're just going to basically play. We're going to play. And basically just get this looking however we want it to look before we wrap these wires up. So, in other words, like, that's a really cool look. Do you notice how it's a thinner diamond, right? It's much tighter. The other one is a little bit wider, right? So that is a complete design aesthetic. It's just getting the technique down. So if you wanted to, notice how I just kind of pulled that like that. It's these little blue wires I'm pulling, or rather pushing. You know, I can push those down, just the blue wires. I'm basically not touching the silver wire. I'm just holding my loop over here, and I have the blue wires. And I can push those to be any way that I want. Any way that I want. If I want them to be tighter, I can make them tighter. Then I just don't push this down as much. I pull the wires up a little more and tighten it. So it can be either way you want. It's just such a gorgeous, gorgeous look. And here's why I call them my Cosmo. Because in between, just like on the earrings I was showing you in the beginning, that center bead is just going to dance around your wrist with the flashing of all that AB, which is just nuts. With those bead caps, it really pulls attention to that moonstone AB. I just cannot. It's so pretty. So can be any shape that you want your frame to be. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking that I like it looking like that. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do now, guys. I am going to take my wires and I'm gonna separate them on either side before I do my wire wrap loop and add my chain again. So again, I'm just going to wrap around like maybe now twice, okay? And then kind of push that down. And I wanna kind of hold this, now that I've made my component, I wanna kind of keep its frame. So I'm gonna kind of hold things now. Now this wire, it's coming out of the top. It's going, it needs to go over. So we need to wrap, and I'm wrapping that pretty tight. Wrap it as tight as you can get it, and put as many wraps in here, guys, as you want. Whatever you feel comfortable with. I think I'm good with that. I'm gonna be really careful here and not break my rondelles. I'm gonna try and really squeeze that in there. And then I'm gonna come around to the back here and I'm gonna trim these. And some of the wire wrap loop that we're about to do should cover this up. And let's try to get those tucked in. Okay, and now let's go ahead, and I haven't cut my chain yet, so I'm going to grab my chain. I'm going to do my start my wire wrap loop, if I could talk. I'm gonna try to go right over those wraps with my pliers here. And get that bend in the wire over the plier. Okay, and now I am going to come in here, right in that bend, okay, and let me get this where they're both going the same way. Okay, I think that's good. And let's pull that wire up and around. Okay, rotate the tool so we can put the pressure on the top of the wire and move that wire to the back. And let's make sure that that's nice and centered there. Can always fuss around, make that nice and centered. Okay, before I close up that loop, which that was a pretty terrible loop, can always fix that. It's a lot better. Okay, let's open that up. And what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna take the last link of the chain that I already put on the other side because I haven't cut it yet. And I know I need to. So instead of wasting another pieces of chain, I'm just gonna pull these around and put the last link and let it fall in that loop. And let's let this one fall in the loop. Did I just twist it? I sure did. And it doesn't really matter because, you know, the twisted look is kind of cool too. So let's see. I'm just playing with design at this point, guys. Let's see. All right, there we go. Okay. And now we'll go ahead, let's close that door. And let's get that wrapped up. And let's try to cover that blue wire up if we can. So let's go like that. By the way, before I do that, guys, do you see how cool that this would also be as a necklace? So you could literally make this component and the chain just like this. And you see how the chain has a different length? In fact, I might put a necklace like that together. It'd be a gorgeous focal, and all you have to do right here on these two loops is either make some chain link you know, like some rosary chain out of any of the beads and make a bunch of components, grab your one-step looper, or just grab a piece of the chain, right? You could even do some beading work, could throw some leather on here. That'd be beautiful. So another little idea. All right, my friends, let's go ahead and see if we can do a decent enough job. This is such a big piece of wire, I have to cut some off, and I have to move this around the other way. Now this wrap might look a little weird, and that's okay. That's okay, because this is a little longer than I should have made it. So now I'm at 4, now I'm going into my 5th wrap, but that's okay. I could have left a peekaboo of that wire, but I didn't, of that blue wire. I just wanted to cover it up, and it's just because it's such thin wire. That's really the only reason. It's just such thin wire. I just wanted it to kind of make sure that it's not going anywhere. It's hidden. It's good, because I'm only making this beauty once. And because we're dealing with 304 stainless steel, life is good. I don't have to worry about anything tarnishing. My wire, my chain, the bead caps, all really good quality stuff. So I just felt like I wanted to do this one. So, you know, each side looks a little bit different. That's okay. That's all right. Okay, so now I'm going to literally find the center link of each piece of this chain, and I'm just going to cut it so we can put a clasp on. So for this one, it's here. Definitely done with these. So we're going to cut that link. And then let's see here. I think it's about right there. And we just need to put some hardware on, friends. By the way, let me know in the comments, you guys. I'm gonna put a poll up. I forgot to tell you guys. I'm gonna put a poll up, and then we're gonna do a dangle. I'm just putting hardware on, so I'm gonna pull you guys out. Guys, we're doing a poll. Okay, so if you guys caught my video from Call and her, I posted the other day, I got her Valentine earring kits. I got 2 of her kits, and I'll link them in the video, guys, because I think she's still got a couple left. We have to name them. These come, she's got a whole selection of them, by the way, not just these 2, that come in those beautiful Valentine earring kits. I got Pugs and Kittens and text me. I'm going to put up a poll, and I'd like you guys to vote, because these belong on my beading mat forever now, because they're so flippin' cute. I can't even take it. So guys, here are my name choices. I'm going to put a poll up. I'm thinking Splish and Splash, Splish and Splash, Cuddles and Puddles, Pebbles and Bam Bam. What you guys think? Splish and Splash, Cuddles and Puddles, or Pebbles and Bam Bam? Oh my gosh, you guys. I can't, right? Because they're too cute. I'm just going to do a little dangle do here, guys. And I think I'm going to end up wire wrapping it right to that chain, frankly. Okay, and so now, my friends, this is what's so cool too, is this what we can mold this, right, around the wrist. Look at this, wow. And all I'm going to do now is just press it. That's why I like the 20 gauge. That's why I like the 20 gauge. I did not like the way the 20 gauge, 22 gauge turned out, so I opted for the 20. and that is stunning. And so now I just kind of have to look and see what I need to do here. So I think this one and this one. Okay, so I need to let one, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let me just cut my chain, guys. I will fast forward here. I have no idea how long this video is running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need to let 7 links go. This is going to be different for everybody. So let me fast forward here, cut my chain on each side to get my hardware on. It'll be just a minute for you guys. Oh my goodness, my friends. Oh, there we go. So guys, what I decided to do was one more dangle, which is right here. So I've got one more dangle, and this is how my chain is cut, and this is what it looks like in the back. Now, believe it or not, I have a couple of extra links here because I just need to do some final adjustments, and I think I do need to cut that last link off, right? Because I don't like if there's two, you know, enough for 2 fingers almost in between to me, and for the chain, it's too loose, right? Because what'll happen is your bracelet will move around too much. But I will do that off camera, and I will just delete one more link off of my chain. I've got my trusty magnetic, and that is what that looks like, my friends. Is that stunning? So let's look at what we made. I thank you guys. Set. Let me lay it out flat. There we go. Let me lay it back out flat. There we go, my friends. What do you think? I hope you guys enjoyed. I just love. Let me get it, if I can get it in frame, for heaven's sakes. There we go. If you guys want to take a screenshot, and we will see you guys in the next one. Keep sparkling and be blessed, my friends.